Kia ora tātou, it's Marnie here again, and I'm here to share some really good news with you, which is that we have met our funding goal. So thanks to you, thanks to your donations, all the shares that you've done of our boosted page with your friends and your family and through your social media, we've got to that $8,000 that we were hoping to get to. So we're really grateful for that support, and we're really grateful for the enthusiasm that you've shown for the Returning to Rivers campaign. We're going to start documenting stories this week. We're hitting the road tomorrow. But we're also thinking now that because of the enthusiasm for the project, we're going to stretch our funding goal a little bit further. And if we can get a wee bit more funding, we will tell 6 stories. We'll film 6 films rather than the 3 to 4 that we were aiming for initially. So if you have people out, friends, family, if there are people around who are still keen to donate, still keen to support, please do, because that funding will go to documenting further stories and building that picture of the pressure that is on waterways and communities because of water being taken out of rivers and groundwater. As I say, we're hitting the road tomorrow. We're going to start filming in the Wairarapa and the Hawke's Bay this week. And I wanted to give you a wee background and explanation about why you're going to see us focusing in on the east coast of the North Island and the east coast of the South Island, and also Northland if we can get there. And that is because those parts of the country tend to be drier than the western parts of the country, and also because we know that those parts of the country, as climate change progresses, are going to receive less rainfall than they currently do at the moment, and that's going to add to the pressure on rivers, on groundwater, and the pressure on our communities. So as I say, we're going to look at Wairarapa and Hawke's Bay this week, and you might remember that last year some communities in the Hawke's Bay were actually struggling to get water into their homes, so their domestic water supply was being impacted, and that was because of the amount of water that was being taken from the ground for irrigation. You may have also seen that this summer there has been a report of a stream drying up in Hawke's Bay, a stream where even a couple of weeks previously people had been swimming in it and enjoying it, and then because of the amount of water that was being taken for irrigation, that stream dried up completely and there was almost no water in the bottom of that waterway. So when we're talking about the amount of water being taken and the pressure that that's putting on our waterways, we're talking about something that's happening right now, something that that we don't have to wait for someday in the future. Is actually that pressure's already started to show itself. So as we've said before, the Returning to Rivers campaign is about returning water to rivers, and it's about putting pressure on our councils and on our government, and saying to them that if they are serious about healthy and swimmable rivers, we've heard our Prime Minister say that her government's goal, her government's promise is healthy swimmable rivers within a generation. If they're serious about that, they need to also look at the amount of water that's being taken out of rivers, out of groundwater, and they need to put a moratorium on further water takes so that they can sort out the situation with consents and where there is too much water being allowed to be taken out of these places. And then they need to take some of that water off irrigators. So they actually need a process whereby that they are reducing the amount of water that people are allowed to take and putting it back into the rivers, back into the aquifers, so that our environment can thrive and so that our communities can thrive, and that we are really and that we are thinking about the future and the fact that that climate change is going to amplify those pressures. So this is a bit of a long video, and if you've reached the end, thank you for listening, and stay tuned, because as I say, we're hitting the road tomorrow and those stories are going to be shared with you soon.